Throughout our nation's history, millions of men and women have earned the title United States Marine. Men who have helped shape our history join us here today. In keeping with the tradition, once a Marine, always a Marine, we would like to recognize them. We ask that those men and women in the audience that are former Marines please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in showing our appreciation for their dedicated service to Corps and country. Thank you. Please be seated. Now taking his position in the reviewing area is Rear Admiral Robert B. Halder, Medical Corps, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, Naval Hospital, San Diego. He's accompanied by Colonel J.M.D. Holliday, Commanding Officer, Recruit Training Regiment, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Rear Admiral Halder is a native of Wampsville, New York, and received his Bachelor of Arts degree from the State University of New York, Harper College, in 1964. He attended the State University of New York Upstate Medical School in Syracuse, earning the Doctor of Medicine degree in 1968, and entered the U.S. Navy in 1969. Rear Admiral Halder's past assignments have included Student Flight Surgeon, Naval Aerospace Medicine Institute, Pensacola, Florida, Ophthalmology Postgraduate Training at Naval Hospital, San Diego, Joint International Eye Foundation, Harar, Ethiopia, Director, Clinical Services, Naval Hospital, Camp Pendleton, California, Executive Officer, Naval Hospital, Long Beach, Commanding Officer, U.S. Naval Hospital, Naples, Italy, Deputy Commander, Fleet Readiness and Support, Naval Medical Command, Washington, D.C., Commander, Naval Medical Command, Southwest Region, and Commanding Officer, Naval Medical Clinic, San Diego. The personal decorations awarded to Rear Admiral Halder include the Legion of Merit, the Navy Commendation Medal, and the Navy Achievement Medal. Rear Admiral Halder is married to the former Marilyn Fox of Linwood, California. They have 2 children, Michael and Craig. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for honors to Rear Admiral Halder. Thank you. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, as the national flag passes directly in front of you, please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the commanding officer of troops, Major D.G. Schuler, and the regimental staff. The Marine Corps Recruit Depot Band, conducted by Chief Warrant Officer Robert W. Grimes, Drum Major Gunnery Sergeant Dennis Wolf. Captain Ernest Williams III and his graduating Marines. Staff Sergeant Philip Coble and Platoon 2001. Staff Sergeant Walter Criddle and Platoon 2002. Staff Sergeant Tyrone Humphrey and Platoon 2003. First Lieutenant Glenn Arola and his graduating Marines. Sergeant William Lee in Platoon 2005. Staff Sergeant Patrick Sullivan in Platoon 2006. Staff Sergeant James Lewis and Platoon 2007. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we would like to introduce to you the Marines responsible for ensuring the success of the difficult transition required to become a Marine. We request that the audience hold their applause until all of these Marines have been introduced. If you look towards the center in front of the reviewing stand, the company commander is Captain James P. Christopherson from San Diego, California. The company first sergeant is First Sergeant David C. DeRozier from Kirkland, Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look to your left front, the series commander for the 2001 series is Captain Ernest Williams III from Albany, Georgia. The assistant series commander is First Lieutenant Glenn P. Castillo from Tulsa, Oklahoma. The series chief drill instructor is Gunnery Sergeant Robert Colon from Brooklyn, New York. The senior drill instructor for Platoon 2001 is Staff Sergeant Philip L. Coble from Bandon, Oregon. He's assisted by Staff Sergeant David Santos from Tobasa, Puerto Rico, Sergeant Alfonso Petaway from Birmingham, Alabama, and Sergeant Terrence J. Slaughter from Lafayette, Louisiana. The senior drill instructor for Platoon 2002 is Staff Sergeant Walter C. Criddle from New Orleans, Louisiana. He's assisted by Sergeant Edward L. Yarbrough from East Bethel, Minnesota, and Sergeant Ivory Campbell from Boston, Massachusetts. The senior drill instructor for Platoon 2003 is Staff Sergeant Tyrone Humphrey from Washington, D.C. He's assisted by Staff Sergeant Steve K. Braun from Cashton, Wisconsin, Sergeant Chris A. Hinton from Defiance, Ohio, Sergeant Brian Taylor from Brooklyn, New York, and Sergeant Marion L. Hammerschmidt from Great Bend, Kansas. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look to your right front, the series commander for the 2005 series is First Lieutenant Glenn E. Arola from Houston, Texas. The assistant series commander is First Lieutenant William T. Treating from New Orleans, Louisiana. And the series chief drill instructor is Gunnery Sergeant Daniel J. Lang from National City, California. The senior drill instructor for Platoon 2005 is Sergeant William A. Lee from Wilmington, North Carolina. He's assisted by Sergeant Keith H. Barnes from San Francisco, California, Sergeant Scott A. Vandeven from Grayling, Michigan, and Sergeant Humberto B. Dominguez from El Paso, Texas. The senior drill instructor for Platoon 2006 is Staff Sergeant Patrick T. Sullivan from San Diego, California. He's assisted by Sergeant Curtis E. Wilbert from Lincoln, Nebraska, Sergeant Franklin D. Kastner II from Piona, Colorado, and Sergeant Paul D. Panisi from Tinley Park, Illinois. Senior drill instructor for Platoon 2007 is Staff Sergeant James A. Lewis from Argyle, Wisconsin. He's assisted by Staff Sergeant Louis A. Thurston from Hillsborough, Texas, Sergeant Wesley A. Moran from Baltimore, Maryland, and Sergeant Joel Facio from El Paso, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, the Marines of Company F. At this time, we would like to recognize those Marines who obtained the highest rifle qualification scores within their respective platoons. Rifle qualification consists of firing 50 rounds from ranges of 200, 300, and 500 meters for a possible score of 250 points. Please hold your applause until all of the high shooters have been introduced. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look to your left front, the high shooter from Platoon 2001 is Private First Class Randall L. Beffert from Laredo, Kansas, with a score of 234 points. The high shooter from Platoon 2002 is Private First Class Avi R. Lee from Coolidge, Arizona, with a score of 233 points. The high shooter from Platoon 2003 is Private First Class James P. Bartouche from Grand Rapids, Michigan, with a score of 234 points. Private First Class Bartouche is also the series high shooter. The high shooter from Platoon 2005 is Private First Class Mitchell G. Yando from Carson, California, with a score of 228 points. The high shooter from Platoon 2006 is Private Kenneth R. Cheney from Pitkin, Louisiana, with a score of 232 points. The high shooter from Platoon 2007 is Private Noah T. Warford from Tucson, Arizona, with a score of 236 points. Private Warford is also the company high shooter. Ladies and gentlemen, the high shooters of Company F. The next group to be recognized are those men who have excelled in physical fitness. The Marine Corps physical fitness test consists of 3 events: pull-ups, sit-ups, and a timed 3-mile run. It is possible to score 100 points in each event for a perfect score of 300 points. To achieve a perfect score, a Marine must accomplish 20 pull-ups, 80 sit-ups in 2 minutes, and the 3-mile run in 18 minutes or less. It is noted that each of these men have achieved a perfect score of 300 points and are designated as the platoon's most physically fit. Please hold your applause until all of the most physically fit Marines have been introduced. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look to your left front, the most physically fit Marine from Platoon 2001 is Private Stanley Bertrand from Altita, California. Although all of these Marines achieved a perfect score of 300 points, Private Bertrand is designated as the company's most physically fit by virtue of performing 45 pull-ups, 90 sit-ups, and the 3-mile run in 17 minutes and 30 seconds. The most physically fit Marine from Platoon 2002 is Private Arden K. Marshall from Whitehorse, South Dakota. The most physically fit Marine from Platoon 2003 is Private First Class Daniel W. Ortiz from Elgin, Illinois. The most physically fit Marine from Platoon 2005 is Private First Class Raymond A. Ortiz from El Paso, Texas. The most physically fit Marine from Platoon 2006 is Private Horatio Ramirez Tejeda from Santa Ana, California. The most physically fit Marine from Platoon 2007 is Private First Class Francis L. Gonzalez from Denver, Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, the most physically fit Marines of Company F. The next portion of the ceremony will be the traditional function of retiring the guidons. The guidons have been carried by the platoons throughout recruit training and are being retired to symbolize the disbanding of platoons. All similar units in the Marine Corps carry such guidons, which identify the unit and are a source of pride to each individual member. Note that the honor of carrying these guidons is bestowed upon those Marines who displayed outstanding leadership qualities, motivation, and enthusiasm, and were selected as the Platoon Honorman. The guidons will now be returned to the drill instructors. before you are the Platoon Honorman. The Honorman is recognized as being the most outstanding Marine in his platoon. Honormen are recognized for demonstrating the highest qualities of leadership, discipline, academic proficiency, and military bearing. Platoon Honormen compete for the title of Company and Series Honormen. The Company and Series Honormen are considered the top men graduating today and have demonstrated the highest potential for future leadership and responsibility in the Marine Corps. The Company Honorman is presented a certificate of commendation from the Commanding General. The Series Honorman is presented a certificate of commendation from the Commanding Officer of the Recruit Training Regiment, and Platoon Honormen are presented certificates of commendation from the Commanding Officer of 2nd Recruit Training Battalion. In addition, each Honorman is presented a plaque from Leatherneck Magazine, a magazine for and about Marines. The Company Honorman will also receive a plaque from the Navy League in recognition of his being the top Marine graduating today. The Honormen will be presented their plaques by the Commanding Officer of 2nd Recruit Training Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Tomasek, assisted by the Battalion Sergeant Major, Sergeant Major Ruedel. Ladies and gentlemen, please hold your applause till all of the Honormen have been introduced. The Platoon Honorman from Platoon 2001 is Private First Class James A. Hall from North Richland Hills, Texas. He's recruited by Sergeant Shores from Recruiting Substation, Dallas, Texas. The Platoon Honorman from Platoon 2002 is Private First Class Fabian L. Fuller from Chicago, Illinois. He's recruited by Sergeant Sanders from Recruiting Substation, Chicago, Illinois. The Platoon Honorman from Platoon 2003 is Lance Corporal David Barrick from Bloomfield Hill, Michigan. He was recruited by Sergeant Kenny from Recruiting Substation, Royal Oak.